Good day. Dr. Nancy Zare here, the Sales Whisperer. And in a moment, I'm about to allow Hirsch to come on camera. He is currently driving, and we absolutely want him to park before he shares his pearls of wisdom here. But today's topic is about objections. And I see that Hirsch is ready. Come on in, Hirsch.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah, parked.
That's right. Now that you're parked, but you haven't parked your brilliance. So we're excited for us to share in the topic today of objections. You don't get objections, do you, Hirsch? I mean, you're the message therapist.
That's right. And you would think that the objections would only come once we're engaged in message therapy. And that's when I would meet all the resistance. But as it happens, as a lot of service providers do, I end up meeting the resistance before we work together. And the objections do come. And I also find that I often have to, pry or press a little bit for the objections because I'll get a good response, but not necessarily a commitment. And I want to make sure that there's no stone left unturned, that I haven't just out of politeness on both our parts, I've kind of let us kind of get to the end of a conversation without really addressing some things that may be of concern.
Well, I get it. And I had the privilege, I'm going to remove him from camera right now so we don't have to see him blush, but I had the privilege of reading an early copy of his book, is Selling the Truth. And so now I understand a little bit more into the psychology of what makes Hirsch Rapun, what makes him operate, what makes him tick. And so I know that this is a fellow who has a great deal of humility and is very much on a quest to help people honestly communicate their message and to tell it truthfully so that the sales becomes an easy process. See, I removed you so we didn't have to see the red face.
I know. Well, thank you, Nancy. That was very kind. I was honored to have you read the book, and I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And that is what it's designed to do, to offer insight. We learn from one another. We learn from one another's experiences. And when we're willing to share them, we can help other people figure out what we've figured out, and then also hopefully learn from some of our strategies. And one of the things that I'm interested in finding out today about objections is your take on turning a no into a yes, because that's what we ultimately want to do. We can talk about the particulars of objections, and it's a very rich topic, but how do you convert a no to a yes?
Now, it turns out, Hirsch, that I've been working with a colleague who did some research, 35 years in the telemarketing field. And so this is actually her particular system that I'm about to share with you. However, I've tried it out and I know it works. And the results are that over 85% of decision makers, when they hear this no to yes formula, they change their no to a yes. Pretty awesome statistics. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Right.
And that's, yeah. So tell us more about that.
Okay. So here's the scoop. I'm going to actually deliver the message, and then we can break it down in terms of what was going on. So let's assume, Hirsch, I said, hey, let's schedule a time we'll schedule a time to get together. And you have said?
No.
And so
I'm not prepared to do that yet.
Okay. Yes. I understand the timing is not always right. However, with your permission, since things have a way of changing, would you be open for us to touch base again?
Okay. I guess so.
Okay, so I got a reluctant yes from him, but
Yeah.
and I know he's good improv here, so he was thinking about how he was going to trip me up. I know that, I know that, but I appreciate that you played along. So let me go over that in more again in give you the whole pattern. And by the way, if you're interested in this, it actually I have written it out, I've explained it. Message me and I'm happy to make sure that you get a copy of it. And so here's how it goes. The person has said no, but you say yes. The timing's not always right because things have a way of changing. With your permission, may we touch base periodically? That is the message. And it works like a charm because even though you were reluctant, you did kind of agree that I could reach out again.
Yeah. And the other thing that's kind of marvelous about it is it doesn't it doesn't put any pressure on them to set an appointment, pick a date, when is good for you. Why don't we say, because even if we said, let's say 3 months down the line, how's the 21st of October, we're not we're your method that you're sharing is not putting pressure on
Yeah.
the prospect to commit to anything other than acknowledging that things change.
And that you're willing for the relationship to continue. And see, that's the key. I think many of us are afraid of a no, Hirsch, because we think that that means the end of communication. That when they say no to an appointment or we've offered to put them on our newsletter or whatever it might be, that that means that that's the it. We can never talk to them again. By using the no to yes formula, you preserve the relationship. In fact, you enhance the relationship because you're getting permission to continue to contact them. And as you say, one of the keys to making this work is that the time span is not immediate. It's a future.
Yeah.
Now, you could alter it, and it does work if you say, may I touch base with you, say, in 3 weeks? And then the person can say yay or no to that. And again, well, the timing's not always right. How about we do it in a couple of months? And again, it's that sort of continued sense of it's not, you're saying no to the timing. You're not saying no to our connecting.
Right.
And that's
Right.
the important thing because Hirsch, you and I are all about relating to people and staying in connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And ultimately, what are we doing if not building a relationship? I think about this a lot when I do have those conversations with people and maybe the timing is not right. The if the timing isn't right for them, it's not right for us. It's that's what it is. But I feel like, well, if I did start to work with them, I would be having an ongoing relationship with them. Why do I have to have the work situation in order to maintain that relationship or build on it? So, presumably, if you're hoping in your heart of hearts that the person is going to want to work with you, that means you want to work with them. And if you want to work with them and it's just not the right time, you would still want to carry on a relationship building exercise with them. And so, everybody wins in that scenario.
I love it. Everybody wins. And the first win is when the person has said no. And at that point, and no matter who you are, am I right, Hirsch? Most people really don't want to say no because it does feel like there's some sort of closure, like the curtains got drawn and that's the end, and the doors clank, boom.
Well, there's also, Nancy, a FOMO aspect to it. They feel like maybe they're missing out on a really great uh, person, collaboration, partnership, client service provider relation. They don't know. So there is a sense that they might be making a mistake. I had someone say to me recently, they were concerned a little bit about, budgetary issues. And they said, well, I should wait until I have more revenue. I know you're probably going to say to me that this is exactly the time that I should do it, that I should really, make the investment now. And they were making the argument for me. And I actually said, no, I'm not going to tell you that. I think you already are telling you're already having that discussion about whether you should do it. A bit of
Right.
FOMO, like, maybe you're going to miss out and you don't want to miss out, but look at it a little more objectively from the point of view of, how do you want the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to look for you? That's really what it's all about.
Right. See, I almost don't even like the word objections, because objection immediately casts this negative blanket over the situation. And so many people in marketing and sales scurry quickly to somehow eliminate, overcome, these objections. And actually, it may be better to let them be there. In fact, we would rather somebody tell us what it is that they may not like or may not approve of or do not want. And again, notice that this particular message starts with the premise that the timing isn't right. However, it does leave an opportunity for the person to say, well, actually, something else, whatever it
Yeah.
might be, that the fact that you say yes when they say no right away allows the person to go, whew, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
defenses, they were feeling like, oh, I'm going to have to defend my no. I'm going to have to make a stand here and let them know it's no. And instead, by saying yes, you keep that relationship in a great space energetically, and you allow both of you to then take a look at what is really going on. And as you suggested with that example, which I know happened more relatively recently, again, you're able to take a look at, well, I really would like to work with you, but here's what's going on.
Yeah.
And so now we can address that in a way that makes sense so that everybody wins.
Yeah. And that again is
Yep.
what it comes back to. If I win, that means that someone else has to win also. There's no such thing as winning and losing when you're building business and when you're creating business relationships. That's not how it works. It's not a competitive situation where I win and the client loses. The client wins. If the client wins, I win.
I know. So again, we are trying to debunk some of these myths that are out there about marketing and sales practices that just don't make sense. It's phony baloney. This particular technique, this message that I've given you, there's some strong psychological reasons why it works. It starts with saying yes. It actually gives the client the timing's not right, so they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the timing, and then you're offering them the possibility in the future to get together. So this is the beauty of this particular message. Can you vary it? Yes, you can. But like I say, 35 years of research, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's proven. Now I have to jump because
I know.
in a
I'm
very
about to.
short while I'm interviewing the illustrious Nancy Zare, the sales whisperer, for my Yes Brand podcast. So I have to prepare for that. But I've enjoyed this conversation as always.
All right. Well, I will let you go. In fact, we're going to let the audience go as well. Again, if you want the words to the no yes formula, if you want more information about it, message me, and I'm happy to make sure that you get that. So to your sales success, it's Nancy Zare, the sales whisperer.
And Hirsch Repin, the message therapist. All right. We did good.